What's up, everyone? All right, so in today's episode, I'm going to break down my trades from the morning. Overall, today, better than yesterday. It's not a no trade day. I traded, I'm green, broke the daily goal, which is $5,000. So grateful for that. But there were still some pops and drops and some rejections. So you had to really be careful today. And if you had profit, you had to take it off the table and not overstay your welcome. And that's pretty much the way I traded. I got in, I got green, I got out. That was it. So let's break down the trades. We'll jump on the screen share. I noticed RGC popped up today quite a bit. Ended up hitting a high of $63. But as you can see, on very light volume, not a lot of liquidity, wouldn't have been easy to trade. So, it's one of these things. It's almost like it's an illusion of momentum because, it went up, but to actually trade it with huge spreads wouldn't have been very realistic. If I look at the level 2 on RGC right now, let's see what the spread looks like. So $55 by $55.90. So, 500,000 shares of volume, up 75%. Imagine how much it would be up if actual, serious volume came into it, like a couple million shares. But realistically, you're not going to see a lot of volume at that higher price point, so it probably just won't happen. All right, so these are the three stocks I traded today. First trade, STSS. Second trade, JTAI. Third trade, SAGT. And so it was getting progressively worse as the day was going on, and that was definitely an indication to take the money and call it a day. So when I first sat down this morning, like yesterday, there wasn't a lot on the scans. It was looking great. I didn't see anything that I wanted to trade for continuation. WW, this one was moving a little bit higher pre-market, but it's cheaper, so that's not my cup of tea, so no interest in that. So I sat down at 7 a.m. and was just sitting tight. And then all of a sudden, basically right at 7, STSS popped up. So this one did have news. This is our current chart here, so you can see what it looks like. Pretty much what ended up happening on this one was it popped up on news, and it initially pops up and pulls back. So I'm like, okay, yep, no surprise there. I'm going to wait on this for a second. So this was at 7:01. Then it pushes back up here at about 7:06, 7:07, and I decided to take my first trade on it. I actually didn't get in until $7. So I didn't get in until way up here. This was a nice little pop here, a micro pullback. I just wasn't sure it was going to work based on, kind of the condition of the market these last few days. So it ended up, I'm going to sort of zoom forward here so we can see the whole chart. So I took my first trade getting in at $7 down here, and it squeezed up to $8. So that was $1 a share right there. Now, of course, I didn't capture the whole move, but that was enough to get a little bit of profit. It then dips down here. It goes below VWAP, comes back up, dips back down, comes back up, and right here, we got a break back over VWAP. So I got a little trade on that, which I knew was a little bit risky, but the MACD technically was still positive at that moment. The volume was high on the green bars here. The selling volume, yeah, but it wasn't as high as the buying volume. So I was sort of okay with taking a stab at it. So I took a stab at it there, made a little bit of money as it popped back up over, dips down, dips down, dips down. And then right here, you can see how we popped up and we ended up rejecting back down. So from here to here, and then from about here to here, this was enough for me to lock up some nice profit. And I had a couple dip trades on it too. So $10,963.52. Biggest position on this, maybe 15,000 shares. I didn't do anything crazy. It wasn't huge positions, but I got a couple nice trades with 10, 15,000 shares, and those add up. So the best trade was the first one. I got in with 12,000 shares at 7, and it squeezed up pretty much to 750, 780. Got profit out, was up $6,000 on that first trade. And then the next few trades added a couple $1,000s each. And that put me up to 10,900 on STSS. So those are my first trades. Now, as it was going sideways, I was watching it to see if it could get back over volume weighted average price, but it wasn't able to pre-market. At the open, it did, but by that point, I was already done trading. So that was STSS squeezing up with a catalyst. In total went, let's see, peak was about 60% on the day. Not bad, about 2 million shares of volume in that little move. So rode that momentum there, got a little profit. It is a somewhat recent reverse split, as you can see back here. So stock's been selling off, have the split, and I was hoping that we would see a nice bounce. The interesting thing is when I first started trading it, it was easy to borrow at Lightspeed, and then they took away easy to borrow. So now it's no longer easy to borrow. Total volume today, 18 million shares. You know, when you compare that to like UPXI from last week, UPXI had 100 million shares on this day right here. So 5 times more volume. And, you know, that kind of makes sense because it held up better. I think with STSS, as it started to sell off, people just lost interest. They're like, no, it's just not really happening. So that was STSS. All right, so those are my first trades of the day. Then the next stock I traded was JTAI. JTAI, I've traded a couple times, hit the scanner, had news, 8:30, bottom of the hour, and I pull up the chart on it. I see that it's moving, and at first I was like, I was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure that I wanted to take a trade on it. So what ends up happening on this one is it pops up here to 465, dips back down, pops back up right here. So it ends up squeezing up here to a high of about 520. Then it dips back down, and right here as it comes back up, I got in at 530. So I got in right about here, and we got a little pop up to 550, a micro pullback, and a pop up to 630. So I took my profit there. It was about $3,000. It dips back down. I'm waiting for the next setup, and it doesn't happen. It just pulls back more, and then I can't take any trades on it. Now I'm waiting for a 5-minute setup, and it just doesn't happen. It just kind of unwinds. So you basically got a very short-lived move on this, and that was about it. It was kind of a bummer. So now I'm like, all right, that's not great. We'd seen a bit of that. PPBT. This one also popped up a couple times today. I didn't trade it. It was choppy yesterday, and so I didn't trust that. IVF, this one was up today, but popped up earlier and then pulled back. So again, it's just like, no, not quite right. Let's see, OMH, that one was on the scans again from yesterday. Sort of thickly traded, just wasn't sure it was gonna work. ULY, this one was on the scans from earlier. You know, just lighter volume, didn't feel like that was worth it either. Jeff Brands, JFBR, this one was on the scans earlier. I was like, nope, I don't think so. But it ended up actually having today 87 million shares of volume. A lot of people traded it, but I just kind of knew this one was not going to be a good one. It has a history of just being so difficult. So then the last one I traded was SAGT. SAGT hit the scans, and it was on the scans yesterday as well. Yesterday, you could see it squeezed through here, breaking through the all-time highs, going up to a high of 550. So this morning, and I ended up being red on this one, but this morning I jumped in this. Basically, it goes from 540 right here. So we were kind of right at yesterday's high, right around this level. So it breaks through 550 and squeezes up. And let's see, so where did I get in? My first order on this was at 607. And then I added, this was on the break of 6, and then I added at 630 for the break of 650. It drops down, it comes back up, it breaks through 650 and then comes back down. And because my average was sort of right in the middle, because I added at 6 and then again at like 637, whatever, I ended up going red on it, lost $700 and said, all right, well, you know what? That's it. I don't want to push my luck. I could just sense that it was not happening today. AMIX, this one also did a rejection. Look at that rejection. Popped up, then goes red on the day. FRGT. So, you know, we continue to be in a market where there's a lot more, people are being a lot more cautious, a lot more hesitant. We're just not seeing these big moves. And the thing is, so here's what I'll tell you about sentiment. When the market is hot, you'll have stocks that make huge moves even without really good news. And it's because long biased traders are jumping on to ride the momentum, hoping it'll be the next stock that goes up 400, 500, or 800%, or whatever the case is. And you never know, it could be. But what ends up happening eventually is that these stocks roll over because the underlying catalyst wasn't really strong enough to support that kind of move. So shorts start getting more aggressive to short everything that pops up, thinking it's exaggerated, it's not going to hold up, and it's going to come back down. And so then they start to get confident. And then they're shorting everything. And then you have a stock that pops up and the news actually is good, but shorts still try to hit it really hard on that first pop. And then all of a sudden it holds up and it goes to the next level. And maybe they keep adding. And then it goes to the next level. And then all of a sudden you have a stock that goes from $2 to $22 in one day, like UPXI did last week, 1,000%. And that is what sparks that next round of momentum, which will last for several days as all of a sudden longs get more aggressive and shorts sort of take the back seat. So we kind of always have this like ebb and flow of sort of who's dominating and who's in control. And right now it feels like the bears are in control. So I don't want to feed the bears. I don't want to overtrade. I don't want to overstay my welcome. I don't want to buy and just get, repeated, see rejection. So I'd rather sit more on the sidelines. If I see something that looks good, I'll take some trades on it. I thought STSS looked good. I wasn't wrong. It did go higher. JTAI looked so-so. I got a couple trades on it. SAGT was a daily setup. And, I was green on it by like $1,300 or $1,500 and then went red when it came back down. So, it is what it is. But this was definitely for me, like the wins getting progressively smaller as the day goes on. That's a cue to slow down. Sometimes on a good day, the wins get progressively bigger. So that's where I'm going from 5,000 on the day to 10 to 20 to 40 to 60 to 80,000 on the day. But that was not happening today. That happens in a market where there's really strong momentum and we have really good news catalysts. That's kind of like the perfect storm, but that just wasn't the case today. So today, I think the traders who probably did the best were the ones who took their base hits when they had them. So that's really important. Pay yourself when you're green. Don't overstay your welcome. Get in, get green, get out. So that's what I'm gonna be doing tomorrow, and I'll be back at it live streaming 7 a.m. for members at Warrior Trading and for those of you guys doing the 2-week trial. So make sure you check out the link for the 2-week trial, pinned at the top of the comments and linked in the description, and I'll see you back at it bright and early tomorrow morning. Reminder as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk and always practice in a simulator before putting real money on the line.